Welcome to the American Roundtable on Tough TV. I'm Al Spry.
And I'm Bill Strickler.
Bill, we have a big show as usual. What's on the agenda today?
We're talking about the Zika virus.
Ooh.
We're talking about the wall being torn down or painted over at Ohio University. And we have one other one, Al. Which one is that?
Rubio, with a de facto endorsement of guess who? The establishment candidate, who's Ted Cruz. That and a whole lot more, but I want to tell you, this Zika thing is hitting Florida, and we're going to talk more about that. Also, we have a wonderful interview coming up. It's a part 2 interview of what we did on last show with Candy Crawford from the Mental Health Association of Central Florida. She's going to be telling us about depression. Depression, one of the leading mental health issues affecting people here in the United States and in Florida. And I want to thank you very much for watching the Straight Talk Zone. This is Politics as Unusual, and it's the American Roundtable on Tough TV. Welcome back to the American Roundtable on Tough TV. We're so happy to be on the network with you. And Bill, this Zika thing, I'm starting to get a little concerned about this. You know, it's starting to spread. We're having a heck of a time here in Florida. We have 346 confirmed cases. This is mosquito-borne, and it's associated with people traveling to the U.S., Florida leading the nation in confirmed cases with 85, nearly 1 in 4 cases nationwide. What do you make of it?
Hey, it's time to move to Montana.
Less mosquitoes there?
Yeah, less mosquitoes. People don't go to South America.
Well, this mosquito, we're doing a good job controlling dengue fever here in America and in Florida, but this Zika is far more challenging. According to the Obama administration, the virus's broad health consequences, the ability, though, also to spread through sexual contact, is making it much harder to combat than other mosquito-borne diseases. You know, we almost completely did away with the mosquito that carries this back in about the middle part of the century, but then we let the efforts go because we were able to control it was like yellow fever. We were able to develop a vaccine and so forth. So we said, well, we won't kill all the mosquitoes. It probably would have been better if we would have killed the mosquitoes. They came from Egypt originally, and they've been in the country a long time, and they spread all kinds of diseases going back 100-plus years. So I think that we really just need to keep an eye on this Zika thing. And I think we need to make sure that people are using anti-mosquito sprays. I think we need to ramp up our spraying efforts statewide and then nationwide. Your thoughts?
How did the Zika virus get a jump on us?
You know, it just, these things develop. Central and South America, you know, sometimes you just develop these strains. They go cross-species. Sometimes the mosquito bites another mammal and then develops this virus and carries it to humans, and then humans pass it along to each other. But I really think that that we really need to, because you know, babies of women infected with Zika will have birth defects. So that's just one thing that we need to watch.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And I really think that we just need to keep an eye on this. We have the Aedes aegypti, that's the one I told you about, the species of mosquito. And it's present in all or part of 30 states in the country. So this is not just one state. This is a multi-state issue that we have to stay on top of. Just want to keep you up to date on Zika. This is American Roundtable. I'm Al Spry.
And I'm Bill Strickler.
We're here on Tough TV and the Tough TV Network. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the American Roundtable, here with Candace Crawford, Mental Health Association of Florida. Welcome back to the show, Candace.
Thank you.
We had you on last time, and you gave us some enlightenment about issues facing mental health in Florida and in the nation. But I'd like to expand upon what you do at the Mental Health Association, and also then we could talk about depression, which is affecting quite a few Americans here in the country. First off, what do you do, and what's your background as far as mental health?
Well, you know, it's kind of interesting. I've been at the Mental Health Association for 7 years. I took over when they had to relieve the duty of a previous CEO. And I came in as a management consultant, believe it or not. Never had been involved with mental health. And I told them I would help them figure out what to do with the organization. I'd be there 3 months and gone. 7 years later, I'm still there.
So your initial term was 3 months. Why did
Yeah.
you decide to stay around?
Because it is such a need and it's such a rewarding area to work in, because we help so many people. And if we weren't there, I don't know where they would go. We have it's 5 days a week. We have 3 people on the phones taking phone calls all day long to research finding services for people. And most of these people are the ones that have no insurance and no money. So we really have to dig. We have to be very creative. We have to find services of varying degrees, whether it's sliding scale. We get some very ill people that have had no diagnosis, they're out of medication, they have no way to get it, they no longer have insurance. So we provide that service, and we help about 2,500 families a year in that program. Then we have the Guardian Advocate program. We actually recruit and train volunteer guardian advocates to help patients who are involuntarily hospitalized. And these advocates are the ones that work with the treatment team to approve the treatment for these patients that have no family or no one to stand up for them.
Kind of like a guardian in a way?
Yes, it's a guardian advocate specifically designed in statute to help a patient in a mental hospital for their involuntary time in the hospital. And it only extends for that period of time, but we train them and we place them. So we help, we do about 650 of those a year for people that need help. And that's a continuous training, and we train families in the similar way to learn how to deal with their patient family members. And then we have a recovery program that we teach people how to handle and manage their illness. They get to come to completely free services and training to help them deal with it, and we have an extensive peer support community that they work with. So they're with like people. They're with people that have gone through similar situations, have figured out how to manage it, and they help them.
Well, obviously things have changed since the days of the mental health facilities, when people would be placed in facilities and they would make sure they got their meds and all that. How do you keep a person on their meds when they're not in a facility? That's one big question that I've always had. I mean, how do they? Because I know several people that just stopped taking their medicines, and of course that's no good for anybody.
Yeah. It's a problem, and it's part of the illness. What you hope is that you get a person stabilized to the point where they will be able to make those decisions. And the sicker they are, the more difficult it can be to keep them on the meds. So there is some instances where someone may need to be hospitalized on a longer term care. But there are many services that can come in and help with someone that needs to stay on their meds, with trying to monitor and help them along. But it is a problem, and we recognize that. We have the only free mental health clinic in Orange County. And we do that with a partnership with Florida Hospital and Orange County government and Walgreens. And we are always at the maximum number of patients at our clinic because we're able to make sure they get medications. We have a great partnership with Walgreens, who provides them for $5. And we make sure the patients have to meet, they have to be there for their appointments, they have to have health care. We help them find that. So then from there, they can go into the recovery program, which continues to help them self-monitor and learn how to manage their illness.
All right, well, Candace Crawford will continue the conversation in a moment with the Mental Health Association of Florida on American Roundtable on Tough TV. Welcome back to American Roundtable. I'm here with Candace Crawford of the Mental Health Association of Central Florida. But of course, these mental health issues are nationwide, and that's why, of course, we're featuring it here on American Roundtable on Tough TV. I want to delve into some things about depression because it seems to be affecting a lot of folks. Well, first of all, what is depression when you talk about it from a mental health standpoint?
Well, I don't know the medical definition of it, but if it is causing you to stop functioning, then you have a serious depression issue. So that's really one of the easy ways to gauge. We do usually have on our website sort of 3 or 4 points that one can ask themselves. Is your loved one doing these? They're not functioning. They're not taking care of themselves. Is a pretty good indication it may be something serious.
Well, and depression, of course, it can happen to anyone, and it can take your life, like we saw happen a couple of years ago to Robin Williams, right? This is a guy who
Correct.
everyone thought was so happy.
Yes, and the mental health affects 1 in 4. That's universally, and depression is something that can be debilitating and long-term, or it can be cyclical, or it can be just temporary. There's a lot of factors that come into play. It is treatable. That's the key. Getting treatment can make a whole world of difference for you.
What are some symptoms of depression?
Sleeping all the time is one. Not going out, not being with your family, not being with your friends, not taking care of your own personal business, not taking care of your hygiene. I mean, there's just a whole bunch of things of it. You sort of just stop functioning. And that there are a lot of people that do have some depression that manage to go to work every day. But
like a functional depressive person.
Yes. And so they need to be treated because you don't want it to escalate. So, there's all varying degrees. There's no one way that a mental illness affects everybody. It usually varies. And, I just read Jesse Close's book called Resilience. And this is Glenn Close's sister. And she and her son have serious mental illness. And it's amazing how she went through so much of her life not even being diagnosed and going through, she is bipolar, so she would have manic episodes and then severe depression where she would just be in bed for days. And, and I think that there's a lot of people out there that have similar situations. They can go through life for a long time, but then at some point, it does get worse, and you need to have treatment, and it is treatable.
Well, what are some treatments for it?
Well, there's medication and therapy. I mean, we at our clinic specializes in depression and anxiety, and we require that you come to counseling. You have to be there for your appointments. You have to go through group as well as individual counseling. It's really important to make sure that you're dealing with all the issues that you need to be addressing.
When you say medication therapy, what are you talking about? What are some medications in therapy that would be helpful?
Oh, you see a lot of them on TV, Abilify and all of these.
Yeah.
They are advertising on TV. But
it's like a different medicine for a different type of depression?
Yeah, I mean, for some people, some things work differently than with others. So, I would just leave that up to the psychiatrist.
You just try to match the treatment to the individual
the
based on their
doctor will
type?
work, the doctors have a pretty good idea in their experience on what works and what they feel like may be a good match for this individual. So we leave that to the doctors. I'm just, I can just tell you that I've seen so many successes, that we've had patients who have tried to commit suicide, go to the hospital emergency room, they come to us the next day, and 12 months later, they're new people. They're just turned their life around. One gentleman has a new business and functioning, and tried to kill himself and had 2 children. So we can make a difference in people's lives.
Well, this is excellent news. I think the number one thing to remember is to seek out the proper treatment. This is American Roundtable. Some final words from Candace Crawford in just a moment, right here on American Roundtable on Tough TV. This is American Roundtable on Tough TV. Happy to have Candace Crawford. She is with the Mental Health Association of Florida. Candy, welcome back.
Thank you.
Let's have some final thoughts on depression. Other illnesses can trigger depression episodes, like with Robin Williams, who we mentioned at the beginning. He had something called Lewy body dementia, which he developed at a later age.
Correct.
And this sent him into a tailspin. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, actually, he suffered from depression long before he was diagnosed with it. He actually wasn't diagnosed with that until after his death. So the depression for Robin Williams was, I think, pretty much most of his life. which some people do have chronic depression. But in Florida alone, we have 8.1 suicides a day. That's a huge number. We have about 16 to 18,000 murders a year in the state of Florida. We have about 35,000 suicides every year in Florida.
How does that compare to other states?
Comparable to some degree, but some states are a little bit less, some a little bit more. But we have a much more serious suicide problem than a murder problem. It's all bad. It's all bad.
I think 8.1 suicides a day, that's a pretty large number.
Yes.
Where can people get more information on depression and on treatment?
We would love for them to visit our website at www.mhacf.org, Mental Health Association of Central Florida.org, and to call us at 407-898-0110. We're there to answer any questions that anyone has. It doesn't have to be on a specific issue of mental health, but if they're having difficulty with a family member, themselves, a friend, we're there for them to talk to.
And this is anyone from any state can call, because this show's on in every state just about. So
we will get them to the right place. Absolutely, they
That's
can
great.
use this number. Yes.
Well, Candace Crawford, thank you very much for joining us on American Roundtable on Tough TV. This is an issue that will continue to obviously be important, not only in Florida but across the nation, because good mental health is really important to a society functioning properly. Because if you have mentally ill folks, it doesn't just affect them, it affects everyone around them and society in general. So I'd like to thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for inviting me.
This is Al Spry. We'll have some final words with me and Will Strickler in just a moment on American Roundtable on Tough TV. Welcome back to the American Roundtable. I'm Al Spry.
And I'm Bill Strickler.
We are here talking politics once more, thanks to Candy Crawford with the Central Florida Mental Health Association for joining us.
You know, one interesting thing there that most people don't know about it is the Baker Act. That if someone has a problem, that they can actually go to the police or mental health association, and they can be Baker Acted so they don't hurt themselves or hurt somebody else. And if you dial 211, if you're suffering from depression, she didn't mention this, but if you dial 211, you can actually speak to a suicide counselor.
That's very good information. Thank you, Bill. Let's talk about Rubio. He's still technically in the race, believe it or not. He was on a show called Levin TV. Joined Mark Levin, wide-ranging interview. Of course, this also included Rubio's future political plans, but when Levin asked Rubio who'd he be supporting for the presidency, Rubio said his delegates are bound on the first ballot. He also added, on subsequent ballots, I hope that they'll nominate a conservative. The only one that fits that criteria is Ted Cruz. Of course, that's a de facto. I guess I guess you would call that he's nodding his head towards Cruz. Cruz is the establishment candidate for the Republican side. Clinton is the establishment candidate on the Democratic side. Both are still in really tough battles, though. How do you see this playing out?
Well, all these politicians, or let's say most of them, they make deals. And probably there's a deal on the table, a backroom deal, that Rubio would be his vice president candidate if he were to get the nomination. So that's the way I see it. It's the establishment against people like Cruz, even Kasich. Is that the...
Yeah, that'd be the other guy.
Yeah. So,
which no one's really talking about. He's not really a factor in the race, but I think it's really important to keep your eye on this. Like I said, people are afraid of Trump in the Republican Party, the establishment. But the Republican rank and file love the guy. So we're going to see a clashing of values here very soon, leading up to the Republican convention. I foresee Hillary getting the nomination on the Democratic side, although Bernie is still running fairly strong. But on the Republican side, man, it's anybody's race. I don't really know. All I know is we haven't seen a race like this in about 200 years. So we'll keep you up to date here. I'm Al Spry.
And I'm Bill Strickler.
We'll see you soon on the American Roundtable on Tough TV.